Hey guys, Matt Baker, the co-founder of the HMO Platform, and I'm here with one of our clients, Max Rayner from Stuart Clinton Properties. He's the director and co-founder.
Hello.
So Max, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
So I just wanted to ask a few questions about your experiences at the HMO Platform. So tell us a little bit about your life before joining the group.
Okay, so before joining the HMO Platform, I was a landlord with a few buy-to-lets and a couple of basic HMOs. So we already knew a little bit about HMOs as a concept, and we tried a couple of them before. And whilst they were working and they were fairly profitable, they were bog standard HMOs, I would say, which is kind of like the norm and what is quite saturated about the market at the moment. And as quite forward thinkers, we wanted to put ourselves in a situation where our HMOs were the best on the market and take it to the next level, which is actually your guys saying next level HMOs, but it's true. And we wanted to be in a completely different band of competition, which is why we looked for help doing that. And the HMO Platform has helped us do that. So we are now just finishing our project. We've been with you guys for about just under a year now, and we're finishing one of our larger projects. And the difference in spec standard compared to the ones that we're doing before is astronomical. We've made some huge steps up, and we wouldn't have been able to do it or have the ideas to implement some of the things that we have into this one without the help of the HMO Platform. The rents are going to be in the top 5% of the market, whereas the rents of our ones before are lower. They're probably more towards the norm. And we have already had people interested in viewing it before it's even been advertised on the market. So really pleased with it so far. And hopefully many more of those ones. It's also given us a lot more confidence to go for the bigger stuff as well. So quite often our comfort zone was like 5 and 6 bed HMOs. And I guess the push from not just yourself and Niall, but from the whole group and from the knowledge and from everyone doing it together helps us tie up some bigger stuff. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're actually just about to tie up a 12-bedroom ex-care home that we plan to convert into a 15-bedroom co-living space. No way would we be looking at doing that without the support from the group and you guys. So life is changing.
Yeah, and that's a cracking deal. I think that's important. Yeah, you guys just taking it from where you were, because you're already doing good stuff, and I knew what you were doing before, and just ramping it up, as you say, taking it to the next level. So it really does help with that, getting in the top 5% of consistency and the ability to keep those tenants longer. So it will have a positive impact on your bottom line.
Less voids, more money, and happier tenants, and then happier landlords, basically.
Well, exactly. That's what we talk about, as you know, about having well-being for tenants and well-being for landlords. You know, they're both just as important as each other. But when we put the tenant at the heart of what we do, the tenant first thinking, which is what you guys do,
I agree.
Yeah, it really does have a positive impact on the business itself. So, a quick question about when you were looking for someone to help you with your portfolio. What was it that drew you to the HMO Platform as to someone else who maybe does something a little bit similar?
I think the transparency for one. Obviously, I did know of you and Matt and Niall. I knew of you and Niall before, and I knew the way that you worked, and I knew that you were honest, you were transparent. You weren't like some of the other property trainers out there that claim to make people rich overnight and make people believe in miracles. You say how it is, and you're honest about the problems that you're going to experience as a property investor, which is important because, you know, when you're learning to do this, you don't want people to tell you, oh, there's going to be no problems. You want to trust that the people have experienced these problems before and can help you with them when you come across them, which is exactly what you and Niall have done, because I know that you've experienced your own hurdles, and it's great. We want to be around people that have kicked the hurdles out of the way in front of us. So we knew that was good, but also the quality of your HMOs were quite aspirational to us. So looking at the stuff that you've done and seeing the proof in the pudding made it a great fit. So, and also it's I know it's down in Brighton at the moment, but there's talk about changing some of the locations. But Brighton was quite a easy access for us on the train as well.
Yeah, so the location, yeah, because we do like to do some of this stuff in person. Obviously, at the moment we're on Zoom, we're virtual, we're face to face. But actually, I think that the face to face way that we're doing stuff through the internet, I think is probably working just as well, if not better, for some people than before. So I don't know how you found it now that we're online versus being in the room.
Yeah, I think that actually, weirdly enough, when you're on a Zoom call, it makes people interact a little bit better in a weird way. I don't know why, but I do think it is important to meet up as well. And there's a lot to be said about maybe not the quality of the education is the same, either online or in person. But the actual relationship side and connecting with people is important, and that happens more in person. But in terms of the value, it's actually a lot easier for us to jump on the computer and have a day's worth of amazing content and speakers coming on. So I think it still works. I think it was.
Well, there's no such thing as online now anyway, because everything's online and it's offline. You're using your phone all the time. So actually, I think it is now becoming an integral part of any training platform. And it's definitely now an integral part of what we do and what we will be doing moving forward. So
that's one thing that I will say about you and Niall actually, is that you do tend to adapt pretty quickly. You're not people that, like, if legislation comes in or, lockdown, you're not like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Bang, the platform's straight online. Legislation comes out, it's pumped out to the group. You've already implemented it in your properties and everyone else is getting that information. So, you do the legwork for us, because I'm not one for spending hours trying to find out, what EICR report I need, or, how my room sizes need to be on my HMO. I'd rather just someone tell me that. So that's what you do.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's why we're here. And it's always good fun. I like getting under the skin of what is happening out there and being able to share that information, which is why we do what we do at the HMO platform. So just a quick question here. What was I suppose the biggest feature that sold you on working with the HMO platform?
The biggest feature, I think, also the fact that you are doing it. So it's not like you did it 10 years ago, or you maybe have a portfolio of like a dozen properties and you sort of stopped there and turned to education to make you money. You are doing it right now, and you are continuing to do deals. And that's really important, because it means that you are always up to date with what's going on, and you know exactly what everyone else is going through. You didn't make, you didn't make your millions 10 years ago and haven't bought a property since, because I always think those people are a little bit out of touch. So for us, the biggest sell was like, you're literally doing it. And if we want to come and see one of your projects, we can come.
Yeah, exactly. So just on the other side, when you were making that decision to whether or not to join the Mastermind and do the HMO platforms, workshops and trainings, what was going through your head which was saying, maybe I don't want to do this? So what obstacles did you overcome within your own mind before you decided to take the plunge?
Well, let's be honest. When everyone's making a decision with this sort of thing, it's like, oh, do I really want to pay a monthly subscription to something like this? Could I spend that money in something else? Is the big one. But if I add up what we've spent as to the value that we've got in regards to the mistakes that we potentially could have made, it's an investment. And actually, I genuinely believe that the advice that you guys have given us has cost us less in mistakes. And actually, if we did it on our own, or with another group that weren't as qualified, it could have cost us a lot more. So we kind of looked at that and was like, oh, actually, if it's only this much in a year, weigh up that in regards to the amount of mistakes that you could be making in regards to your projects. And we see it as money saved, as money spent.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, well, I think it's a really good way of putting it. So better to avoid the costly mistakes. And when things
Agreed.
do go wrong, you've obviously got those people around you to
Hmm.
help overcome those hurdles.
Because if you
So,
look at everyone, you know, everyone needs a mentor, and everyone needs someone showing them how to do it. Not that they won't get it, you know, not that they won't be successful, but there's proof in the pudding that if you're around people that are doing it and you have people showing you how to do it, you're going to get to that goal a lot quicker and spending a lot less.
fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much. And one final question, which you can answer or not. What has exceeded your expectations since working with us? You can give an example.
What has exceeded my expectations? Probably the amount of contact. With these sorts of groups, you tend to join, and then, you know, you may not get an answer that quickly, or, you know, you may be limited to sending a few messages, a few emails, or a phone call. You know, obviously, I don't expect you guys to pick up the phone every 5 minutes, but whenever I've called or whenever I've sent a message in the WhatsApp group or an email, I've received a response in a faster manner than I thought I would have. And I don't feel like a burden either, because I get a bit like that. Even when I'm paying for education, I feel like, oh,
Yeah.
if I'm calling too much, I don't want to be too much of a burden. And I've never felt like that at all.
Good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it's working. The system works. Excellent. Well, thank you for coming on.
No worries.
And I do actually have one last question.
Okay, go on.
Always question. So, what would you say you have been able to achieve since being with the HMO platform?
Since I've been with the HMO platform, I now am a full-time property investor. I quit my job in February 2020, so property is now full-time for me, and I don't think I would have had the confidence to do it if I hadn't had the knowledge of the HMOs, because it wouldn't have been on buy-to-lets on their own.
Yeah, fantastic. I think about sums it up. Cheers for spending some time with us, Max.
No worries, Matt.
About your experiences.
No problem.